branches bend and curve above your head. Here in the majestic temple of the forest, Greeve awakens and gets to his feet. He has no knowledge of his surroundings or where he is. His body is injured. He has almost no inventory, nothing but the clothes on his back and a knife to survive with. He finds himself in a strange place. It looks normal, and yet something is off about this place, and that is because Greeve finds himself in the unreal world. Welcome everybody, my name is Ryan, and we are back with an Unreal World series. That's right. So first, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been tuning in. I put out an Unreal World video about a week or so back, and I also released a few other games to see which one you guys might be most interested in, and I think the Unreal World video did the best in terms of engagement and stuff, so we're back now. You guys requested it, and we're going to do a new series, and that's right. Let's take a quick look at our physical profile. Greeve is a Driikalanian, which is a culture I don't normally go for. But in the interest of keeping things fun, I wanted to try something different than I normally do. So he's got moderate intelligence and will. His strength is pretty good for a Driik, and especially for somebody his size. But endurance, dexterity, agility, pretty middling. But the speed is a very important stat. That's going to be one of the ways that we do most of our hunting. Now, let's take a look at his skills too. Very important page. As a Driikalanian, he's not much of a fighter. He has adequate skills in combat, but he's mainly focused on building, agriculture, and cooking, with a smattering of fishing and net making too. So these skills will help to guide his life, but we'll also need to work on a few other key ones like trapping, hide working, timbercraft, and whatnot. And I think with our character, we're going to be going with a crossbow for our ranged. Again, that's a weapon I don't normally play with, and I'd like to try it. So Greeve is strictly going to be looking for crossbows in terms of his ranged. We'll also probably have a knife and an axe and whatnot, but speaking of that, let's take a look at the inventory. Oh yes, as mentioned, he starts hurt, helpless, and afraid, meaning we only have the clothes on our back and a knife, which, yeah, just a plain basic knife, leather boots. We got some netted trousers. They are masterwork quality. Fine fur shirt, and a linen tunic. Well, it's enough to keep him covered, but not much else. And if we look at down at the very bottom, we're in day 4 of the 11th week before midwinter. That translates to late fall, so you can see there's already snow on the ground, a light dabbling of it, and in the next coming week or so, we're going to start to see more. It's going to get very cold, so we're definitely going to be on the lookout for some big game kills so we can get some hides and stuff, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. First things first, let's take a look at his here we go, his wounds, injuries, and diseases. So all things considered, it's not too bad. He can stand fully. I think he could probably even draw a bow if we had one, but not to worry. All we care about right now is that he can walk and see properly, and that's pretty good. So let's start out our adventure by picking up some rocks and stones and whatever other resources we can find here in this little forest. Now, we should probably take a look at the world map too. You can see we're not far from our home culture. That is this teal color. The islanders are close neighbors. This would be the water mainly, so the coast is going to be about here. But yeah, we can always make little excursions and trade trips into our home culture. And of course, the Driik, if you're unaware, although they might be small relative to the other cultures in size and expansive territory, they're one of the wealthiest. They will have some of the best armor and weapons. But of course, they're not just going to give them to Greeve for free, so we must start to build up our own supply of trade goods, and that all starts right here in the forest. Let's go ahead and chop down this little tree. It's a sapling, and we're just going to use our knife for that. Luckily, that'll be used for some cordage later. Grab any little stones I can get, or rocks. Speaking of stones, here's a big one. Perfect. We've also got more of these little saplings. Okay, we've got a bird coming into view. We don't want to overdo it with the weight too much, but we're definitely going to be heading to a spot that we can settle down and build a little shelter right away. So let's in fact zoom out and we'll jump to the world map. What I'd like to do is find an open pine bog, but we've got to be careful because the more we travel on the world map, the colder we get. This passes time much more quickly in this area. So we might want to zoom in and just start a fire and warm up. Here we go. This might be acceptable. It's a pretty small little pine pit. Here we go. Alright, it's starting to open up a bit more. So let's zoom back in. Excellent. And we can travel a bit more freely at this level without getting cold immediately. Let's see if we can find the edge of the forest. Alright, well we have found the edge of the forest. It's actually just behind the character. But take a look at this. This bird is not very frightened of Greeve. I guess his small stature isn't very threatening. Look at this and get right up to it. At some point it is going to... Yeah, okay, it just flew away. Darn it, I should have probably wielded a stone and gave it a toss, but not to worry. We'll set up a few traps around here too. That's definitely one of the reasons I'm carrying these stones. So, yes, you can see we've got a little bit of a hill, and there's the forest edge. So, I just want access to as much timber as we need. That's why I wanted to get kind of close to the forest, but we don't need to actually live right next to it or in it. But let's set ourselves up right by this little tree here. Yeah, most importantly, we have some water just to the north of us there. And we've got this little spot. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and knock off some branches. Perfect. We also need some spruce twigs, which we can acquire from right here. Excellent, yeah. We've got the spruce tree, and if you're ever unfamiliar what kind of a tree it is, just try to walk into it, and it'll tell you. In fact, I think on the most recent update, they've added a few new types of wood to the game. Oh, okay, so we're getting cold. Yeah, let's be careful about that. We don't want to freeze, obviously, before we build our shelter. So, what I think we'll do... Yeah, I've got enough twigs. We'll get a little fire started. Let's actually start it right here. And I'll tell you why. I think I need 20 of those. There we go. And yeah, we'll start a little fire. Ooh, sometimes it takes a few attempts. Come on, my friend, you can do this. There we go. Alright, now while we're warming up next to that, we're going to cut down this little tree. Oh, bird just flew into view. Well, the fire went out, but it kept us relatively warm. Okay. Now, how much did we end up with? 5 slender trunks. That's pretty good. I'm going to actually pick one of these up, and we're going to move the rest of them right over to here. Alright, so let's see. I think we ought to go ahead and get a fire started because we are numbingly cold again. So let's push some of this firewood down. I'm going to do 1 trunk, and we'll just do 4 of those. Let's get that fire started. Beautiful. Alright, that should keep going for a little while. Let's try to start our shelter, see if we've got everything we need. And we do. Perfect. So I'm going to put this right in front of this little tree. Look at that. Oh, it didn't quite finish it. It got real close, but I thought it was going to be perfect timing. Not quite, though. Let's see. Can we even see enough to do this? We're going to have to start another fire, I think. Alright, so... yeah, we can start the fire. We are weary. Of course, we're very hungry, but we have no food to speak of. There we go. Okay, we got a little fire. We really need to get this built. Okay, come on. Whew, there we go. We did it. Alright, we can just barely crawl into our little shelter here. We're very thirsty, but we'll try and get a little bit of sleep. Let's see if we can maintain our warmth. Alright, he's still tired, but... and it's pitch black out here. We're gonna get... I thought there was water there. We'll just come to this side. No, I think it's because I can't see. Alright, well, maybe we need to make a torch. Alright, here we go. So I've collected 10 branches, and I turned one of our little saplings into 4 feet of tying equipment, and we're about to make a torch. There we go, very good. Now I think, yeah, we're going to need to start a fire separately. I don't believe I can just straight up light the torch from my inventory, but now we should be able to. Alright, so we've got a torch lit, a bit of a fire. Let's come over to this puddle. Yeah, so we were just, it was so dark we couldn't even identify that there was water there. But now we can clearly see it. Beautiful. Alright, drink from the natural source. Excellent. We don't have any containers at the moment. So, yeah, he is very, very tired all the time. His fatigue is really affected badly by his injury, so that's preventing us from doing work for any long period of time. But I guess the good news is he's extremely tired, so let's extinguish the torch and we're just going to go to sleep. Now, it might be a little bit difficult because he's starving. Technically malnourished, but he's going to be starving soon. Alright, so he is fully vigorous. Yeah, we're not tired at all. Let's see what we've got in our inventory. Okay, so we've got the slender trunk and a stone. Excellent. I think we're good. We need to get ourselves a few more of these branches. We're going to knock some branches off the tree. And let me grab those. Alright. Now we want to set a few traps. There's actually a bit of heather and some areas where we could harvest a little bit from. There's in fact some mushrooms right here, but we're not going to take a risk on those. Let's see if we can identify them actually. Using our herb lore skill, now it just identifies it as a memorable mushroom, so that means we don't know exactly what type it is. Well, yeah, let's take down this tree right here. I can definitely set one trap, but we're going to need more of this wood here if we want to. There we go. Alright, let me grab one of these. Beautiful. So we should be able to set 2 traps now, and these are the light lever traps. Very primitive. You're really only going to catch birds with these, but that's really all we care about. Alright, and here we go. Light lever to the north. Perfect. Normally I would say don't even worry about baiting these, you know, if you're low on food, but there's actually mushrooms right here, so I might as well just go ahead and bait them with the mushrooms. We got 4. Let's get them all in there. Okay, we got 4 mushrooms in there. Visibility's still pretty poor, but I'm going to try and get this stuff back to the shelter here. 4 trunks. We just kind of... there it is. Alright, this will be good for firewood. In fact, let's push a little bit of firewood forward. There we go. It's always good to be prepared, especially when you're not fully geared yet. Be ready. Have a fire always, like just the least amount of wood you need, basically. Yeah, let's see. So I'll do 4 branches. Why is it not working? There we go. And a slender trunk. And that would actually start a fire that would be enough to warm me from freezing. So that's helpful. In fact, we are pretty cold right now. Let's see if we can get this other trap placed here. Yeah, there's the one to the north. We can just barely see it if we move out. I probably placed it a little too far. I might move it, readjust it, but for now that's okay. Let's do... there we go. Now look at that. We got birds flying in and out of view. Alright, so this one is just here behind that tree. Let's grab this heather. Okay. And we'll bait it with the pinch of heather leaves. Beautiful. Okay, now I think it's time to warm up. And it's early afternoon. Yeah, we're going to get the fire started. Beautiful. Might just sleep for a little bit. That'll get us to sweating. Okay. Let's drop a few things. Not the rocks. I'll drop this. That and that. Okay, let's actually zoom out to the world map. We can't spend too much time out here, but I just want to get a good picture of our surroundings. Try to at least. Oh, we just encountered an elk. Interesting. Wow. Alright, so the largest herbivore in the forest right there. I don't think we can get this animal. It would be possible if we were in the open, but since we're here in the forest, it's really difficult. And Greave's tracking skills are not that great. Let's just see though. Maybe I can push it out into the open. That would really be something. Let's see. I've already lost its tracks. Let's try just zooming out. Yeah, we would really just need to get it to this location, but no, it's too risky. We're cold. Perfect, there's our shelter. Yeah. Now, one thing I'm going to do to make it easier to find this shelter is I'm going to actually mark it, and we'll just say Camp 1. Perfect. Save. Now it's got a little X there, and that X will actually appear, yeah, right there on the actual map too. Just, again, makes it easier to see it. Whoa, Coach, time out. We gotta take a break to recognize my Patreons. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. It means the world to me. And now back to the game. I'll see you guys on Discord. Good morning, everybody. Wow, big change overnight. Looks like the snow completely covered the ground, but it is early morning. We are chilly, so we're gonna have to be hanging out real close to this fire until we're able to get like some furs going. But we might get lucky. It might get a little bit warmer for a few days, but remember, we're headed into winter, so this is a true survival challenge here. And we have very little. Now, if we get extremely desperate, we can head into town and maybe trade away a few things. You know, I do have this fine fur shirt here. I'm sure somebody would take that in exchange for some nice smoked salmon or something, and maybe even an axe. But we'll have to cross that bridge if we really get desperate. So for now, let's just check the traps and see if we got lucky with any birds. We don't have a lot of visibility, so I'm going to have to walk directly to them. Alright, nothing in that trap except mushrooms. Let's come to the south. And don't think there's anything in that one. I think I'd like to cut this tree down. Might make it easier on us. And we just got cold again. Yep, so let's move these slender trunks. That's another thing too. Cutting down these slender trees is going to be crucial for survival. Oops, I didn't mean to zoom out. Yeah, because we're going to need a constant flow of firewood. Boom, there we go. Yep, alright, let's warm up a little bit. And I need to find a log too. There we go, sleep a bit. That'll get us warm. And we've got some light. Wonderful. Now, yeah, if we venture out... Okay, just checking the traps again. No, nothing. Yeah, let's start looking for a nice log that we can roll back over to our shelter. And I'm going to need some more stones too, so let me see what I can find. Oh my gosh, well, I finally found one. Took a while. Sometimes these are very easy to find. Other times they're very elusive, but there we go. So we've got our trunk. And I did have to travel a good old distance away from the shelter. Hopefully we can make it back without tiring ourselves out or freezing, more importantly. Let's head up. There's our trap. Come on, push. And we got to rest again. Yeah. The good news is our injuries are steadily healing over time. Alright, so we've got the log. That's not for firewood. That's going to be very important once we start killing animals, because we're going to need that to prepare their skins on. But, yeah, let's get this water here. Getting a little bit thirsty. And, of course, we're cool again, so let's go ahead and warm up. And we might actually jump out to the world map. We'll skirt around our local area and look for any big game, and then possibly set a trap or two if we don't see any. And the world map awaits us. Let's see what we can discover out here. I'm of course going to need to zoom out. Just peek our head here, keeping a close eye on my warmth level. Okay, it's dropping, but this is good. We're getting a little bit more visual. Now I do want to set some traps since we didn't see anything. And it doesn't need to be very far, just a few squares away, because again, if the winter really sets in, we're not going to be able to move very far at all from our shelter. So just a couple of tiles away, and let's pick out a good spot here. Yeah, probably next to these bushes is perfect. We got all kinds of berries and stuff. I'm going to grab this slender trunk. Perfect. Alright, so I've got 2 stones with me. Let's go ahead and get these traps set here. I'm actually going to lay one of them directly on one of these bushes. Memorable berries. Okay. And, I'm missing some branches. So let's get a little bit more material. I'm actually going to knock the tree down. Alright, and let's grab 1. Perfect. Oh, and now it's too much to carry. There we go, we're getting chilly. Alright, so we placed them over the berry bushes. Fairly close to each other. No big deal, that's fine. Alright, yep. And let's see, can we actually pick these up? Yeah, we can move those. Okay, so there we go. It was a quick little circuit of the area, but that's all we could tolerate with our little crappy gear. So let's go ahead and start another fire. Believe it or not, another day is over pretty much. There we go. And we'll get this one lit. Whew. Alright. So I have been collecting some sweet flowers. This is heather. I know that just from experience playing the game, and I can recognize the plant. But I'm going to go ahead and fill his belly up with these. There we go. Oops, didn't mean to zoom out. But that'll just allow him to sleep straight through. Although he's still going to be starving, because most plants in this game are not going to provide you enough nutrients to survive on their own. They'll help fill your belly up and get you going through the really hard times, but he needs meat. It is another beautiful morning out here. Let's see, we've got a fire ready to go. I've also been collecting more of the sweet flowers. Very good. Keep that belly full. And I placed a couple more traps to the east and west of us. So we got one right here on that little ridge and one just back there. I think I'm going to move this one slightly. Yeah, so let's come up to this one and we're going to hit D to deconstruct it. Don't be afraid to deconstruct your traps and move them around. I mean, for one thing, it'll help your chances, and another thing, it will actually increase your skills, your trapping skills by doing that. Alright, so let's see if we can set that again just a little bit lower. This will allow me to see it when I'm just sitting in my shelter, so I don't have to get out and move. And I know it seems like I'm being a little bit overly cautious about the shelter and staying in it, but man, once that severe winter hits us, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Let's jump out. Again, we're going to try and rustle up some big game here, people. This is very risky. Another thing we can do, and probably should do while it's still relatively warm. Alright, we just got cold. Let's come up here. Right here is good. We're going to set up a second shelter at this location. I want to find a perfect spot for it, though. And here we go. So we've got ourselves a nice roaring fire I just built. We're also right here next to a little pond. And, of course, we've got a small tree. So that's a perfect spot. I think I've got the resources we need. Let's actually stand next to the fire while we do this. There we go. I'm just going to build it directly north of me. Oh, now I don't have the branches, and the slender trunks are not in my range now. Alright, let's move these down with us. Oops, God, I always hit enter. Alright, not to worry. Sometimes you gotta get back into the swing of things in terms of controls. Alright, come on. It's very tired, but got it built. Okay, good. So that means we can just go ahead and sleep here tonight. And this will quite potentially save our lives once it gets severely cold, because we can kind of bounce between these two instead of having to like run back to our other one. real hastily or get caught out in the middle of nowhere without a good shelter. So yeah, I will go ahead and set up some, I think, traps just like we did the other one. And of course we're going to need to stock this place with a bit of firewood too. And eventually, hopefully, we can stash some food here, but we still don't have enough of that. Well, 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 I tell you what, we are not far from our shelter. It is that X. Of course, yeah, I forgot to mark our other shelter, but that's the one I just left. Here's our home right there, the first one. And what is that just in front of us? It looks like a big, beautiful elk. Now, we don't have perfect visibility, and of course, we're not in great shape, but we are still going to give this a go here. It's also not in the best area. It is open. There it is. Yep. There she is, elk. Alright, but like I said, we're going to give it our best shot here. Actually, visibility's not bad. I do have to stay fully zoomed out here. Let's do a little sprinting. Okay. So she's taken off to the south. There she is. A little bit fatigued, and of course that's what we're trying to do, is push her till she becomes breathless. Because of course they're naturally spooked of us, so if we can get her to constantly just sprint away. Although she's not very threatened right now. Okay, good. There she goes. Of course, she's much faster than we are, so we'll often lose sight of her, but then we just have to follow her tracks and keep the pressure on her. Alright, she's a little bit fatigued. I'm actually gonna try to throw a rock at her, but I don't think it'll hit. Oh, well, that's a close miss. Oh, she fell in the water. It's interesting. She must be fairly large. I just saw her over this direction. Now this, you can see her tracks are starting to get, she's going a little bit crazy over here, so it can be hard to follow at times. They start leaving excessive amount of tracks. Oh no. I also see we've got what appears to be a forest coming to the south of us. If she runs into the trees, she's going to be extremely difficult to find. Where is she? Oh, there she is. She's to the north of us. Okay, that's good. That's good. We can push her northward. She's still only a little bit fatigued, but yeah, no reason to give up. Let's keep going. See if we can find her. I'm going to go into... no, okay, there we go. Still only a little bit. Man, oh man. Alright, I'm going to keep the pressure on her. Let's see if we can get her down to the next level. Oh no, look at this. She ran right into the forest, leading northwest. Yep, right up in here. I don't even see her tracks anymore. Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, we don't have to give up. Again, we're not in the best shape, so the more time we pass, the less able we're going to be to hunt her, but also I don't really want to give up. Let's just pull back. I'm going to let time pass. I'm sitting here in stealth mode. Also, we could jump out, maybe pull back a little bit, and then zoom back in. Just walk around, but you can see we're steadily losing light. Yeah, she's got tracks everywhere around here. And of course, now at this point, if we did re-encounter her, she's going to be completely rested by now, because she's had enough time, away from us, that it won't be hard for her to get a little bit of shut-eye. Well, shoot. I mean, it is super close to our base, so we're definitely going to be coming back here. Probably first thing in the morning, for sure. We'll check around this area, because I am not willing to give up on her just yet. Another morning has come, and Greeve wakes up next to a nice roaring fire. He is sweating a lot. If we zoom out, we should be able to just see, unfortunately, nothing in the bird traps, but that's okay. Now it is time to jump out and explore this forest to see if we can rustle up that elk that we left last night. Of course, we've got another set of traps here. Unfortunately, no birds here, though. So, like I said, The big game is really what we're looking for. That would set us up with enough food for the next few weeks easily, and we could start to think about crafting up some clothing for us too, which will give us a lot more freedom. But I think what we're going to do is leave off the first episode right here, guys. We're going to start episode number 2 at this exact spot, picking up hopefully in an exciting elk hunt, which we'll be successful at. But we won't know until that next one, so make sure you tune in for that, everybody. Also, it'd be great if you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're a new viewer, and I will see you guys on the next one.